Thank you.
Hi.
Oh my goodness, look who's here today. You were so excited to have Caroline's Table today with my beautiful daughter, Violet Summers, who is newly home.
This is my first time even being a part of Caroline's Table. I feel like it started while I was away.
Oh, it did. That's
yeah,
right.
and I've seen little clips, but this is my introduction, actually. Why don't you tell me what you do on this show?
Okay, so hold on, we're on the wrong.
That's Wellis.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, hold on one second, because I got to get out of Wellis there over here. Bye. Hold on. Wrong handle on Instagram. 2 secs, Facebook. I'll be right with you. Live. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now we are live. Hey, you guys, welcome to Caroline's Table. I'm Caroline Summers. This is my daughter, Violet Summers. She just got back from Rome, and she was catching up, learning about Caroline's Table.
I'm learning about what Caroline's Table is. This is my first introduction.
So when I came home from our vacation in Italy, hi Jill, I decided to establish my own set of shows. So on Tuesdays, we gather at the table and we chat. I chat with all of our community here, and we usually talk about health, wellness, hormones, holidays, whatever it is that is top of mind. So today, what I wanted to do was talk about a really important health issue that affected Violet. So that's what we're going to do today. On Thursdays, I have a show where I do a cooking show. So it kind of helps to cover all of my interests because they can be quite varied. A lot of you are here because you follow my cooking. Some of you are here because you are fans of the Suzanne Somers brand, which is a wonderful company that I worked for 30 years. And so this is my next chapter. So welcome home, Violet.
Thank you.
When we went on vacation in Rome, Violet moved there. She's back for a bit and just wanted to sit down and have a chat.
Yeah.
So welcome, Violet.
Yeah, I've been wanting to move. Oh, sorry.
And this is Bunny.
I'm
for
really
those of you who
happy
don't know. Yeah.
because I get to be with my dog again.
Yeah. Oh, she's cute.
With my little dog. So hard to focus when she's here. Anyway, I was in Rome on vacation and I decided to stay. I had been wanting to live in Italy for a while, but there were certain things holding me in the US. And so it seemed like a spontaneous decision, but it was actually something that I'd been wanting for a really long time. And it just felt like it was the right time to go there. And so now I'm back for a few months, sorting out some of the logistics, and happy to be joining Caroline's Table today, helping out, talking about mold, which did you mention it already?
I think I did say mold already, but that's the topic. The topic today is mold. We talked about mold on one of the previous episodes, and so many of you DM'd me and you wanted more information. Where do I get testing? What kind of treatment did Violet do? Because Violet she's a success story. Violet had some really debilitating issues with mold toxicity that we found out about because she had Lyme disease. And I think it's important. It's actually, I think, a responsibility of people who have figured out how to get over difficult things to then share with other people. So that's what we wanted to talk about today. Violet, I wanted to ask you, first of all, how old were you when you started getting symptoms, and what did you feel like what felt off to you?
I think it was hard for me because a lot of things happen at once. Like I had Lyme disease when I was little. 14, sorry. I'm still a little like brain fried. I had Lyme disease when I was 14, and the Lyme happened at the same time that the mold toxicity was getting bad, which happened at the same time. That also exacerbated my food allergies. So the leaky gut was really bad at the same time too. So what tipped me off that I had mold was actually a chain reaction that was preceded by getting a tick bite. So I got my tick bite went to the doctor, what's going on? The doctor gave me an antibiotic for Lyme disease. An antibiotic makes no sense. It doesn't kill the Lyme. My immune
for
system...
some people it does. It didn't for you. Yeah.
That's what they prescribe. It's not really like a common cure, I don't think, but
No,
whatever.
it is. The antibiotic, they do heavy course of antibiotics for Lyme, but it did not work.
Yeah, I guess whatever. I guess it didn't work for me. And so when I got the antibiotic, my digestive system completely shut down because it had already been compromised by the mold allergy, and I was living in a house with mold. So up until that point, it wasn't that bad. I didn't really know what was going on. But then we had the Lyme, the antibiotic, and also that exacerbated all the food allergies. So I wasn't able to digest food. And
so what were you, just try to go back to those days. How were you feeling? Like, what were your symptoms like? Because these are mystery illnesses, guys. So a lot of people don't know that they have a mold issue or that they have Lyme disease, because like sometimes you can just not know why you're feeling so off. So can you remember how you were feeling?
Of course. So the mold was specifically like brain fog. Like the brain fog was really bad, and also swelling and bloating. Like I would get an extra layer of what looked like cellulite, and it was actually a histamine reaction. So it was like a layer under my skin of like
inflammation.
Yeah. And I would think like, I also was having problems with eating at the time, because just when so much of your body's out of control, it's like, I was in high school. I just wanted to be like skinny. And
well, it's also puberty. I mean, this
puberty
all happened
too.
right at puberty. So
I was
it's like,
so I was going through phases where I like stopped eating. I developed honestly a pretty long eating disorder because of all of it. And I would go for weeks at a time, not eating anything, like basically eating. I even fasted for like 8 days when I first got to the treatment center. And I still had this layer of like histamine. It's like from the mold. It's a mold reaction. So
what happened when we finally found we tried several treatments in Los Angeles and she was not getting well. She was so fatigued, she could not get out of bed. And, as a mother, there were days where I was like yanking her out of bed saying like, you're going to school. And she would be like, I can't. Yeah. And you just, sorry about that.
No, you don't have to be sorry. Because also sometimes maybe I was being like, just not wanting to do. I don't know. It's so confusing right now because it's all I knew. It's all I knew was like feeling that kind of brain fog. And it's like, now, of course I have some days where I'm a little fogged, whatever. But like now thinking about myself on days when my brain is functioning perfectly and whatever, of course I probably could have done school then with proper medication too. You were looking at someone who had severe ADHD, OCD, mold toxicity, Lyme disease, like all the things together. It was just like, you can't do anything.
Yeah, and all of these things, when your system is suppressed from the mold, and we didn't know this. Fortunately for us, when Violet got Lyme disease, she had a target. So Lyme disease, if you get a circle with a circle around it, like that typical target bite, that's how you know you have Lyme disease. A lot of people have Lyme disease for decades and never know what the cause is. They just feel like shit. And that was, we actually were looking for symptoms because she had this target. It was not getting better. We ended up at a clinic in Florida that literally saved her life. It was called the Spinagle Wellness Institute. And unfortunately, Rick Spinagle has retired and is no longer, I don't know if the clinic is still available, but a lot of you have asked me. So when we got there, he is the only doctor who connected all the systems of the body. He was like, she has Lyme disease. We know that from the target, the bullseye bite that she got. He said, and then he also did testing for it. He said, she also has severe mold toxicity. She carries the HLA gene, which 25% of the population has. It is most common with descendants of Northern European countries. So her grandmother from Ireland is where that came down from. Suzanne had the HLA gene. Bruce has it. Both of my girls have it.
You don't?
I don't have it. So if you have the gene, you're much more severely affected by mold, exposure to mold. We're in the same house. I was breathing in the same amount of mold that she was, but we had no idea it was coming from, we had an air conditioning unit on the ceiling, on the roof of our home. And we didn't realize that there was mold and then it blows all through your home.
Yeah.
And these are things that, and your school had mold in it. I mean,
Yeah,
Harvard Westlake was
definitely.
incredibly moldy. So when we got to this clinic, he said, okay, so she has Lyme disease, she has mold toxicity, and her gut has been so destroyed from the mold. That's the reason she's having all of these food allergies. And he said, your gut is so critical right now. He said, I have to treat your gut before I can even get to the mold or the Lyme because she can't absorb any nutrition. So we've talked about this a lot, what leaky gut is. You get holes in the lining of your intestine and your food goes through your intestine undigested, and that creates enemies in your bloodstream. And so all of your immune system goes to fight those enemies. And guess what happens? This is where you get the inflammatory response. So the inflammation is what she was getting, that she describes as that swelling, the bloated and swelling. And it would come and go. And there was no amount of, she tried dieting it away, but that wasn't the issue.
I would also get so inflamed that I could swing 10 pounds in a day. In a matter of 24 hours, I could swing 10 pounds. And it's like water retention,
Yes.
histamine, inflammation. I don't even know what it is. Mm-hmm. I'd look at the scale and be like, what's going on? It's very out of control. It was a time when I was very out of control of my body.
So frustrating. I look at what you went through with, having no energy, just being incredibly debilitated, with brain fog, with lethargy, and then the mental health issues that would come with it. She would get really depressed. Camellia on the other side would get super anxious.
No, well, I got anxious.
You got anxious
I got
too,
anxious and depressed. I had both of them in extremes, honestly. And also,
and then the OCD.
The OCD was exacerbated too. I don't even I probably have never even said publicly that I have OCD. I don't really resonate with it anymore. Sometimes it'll be pointed out to me and I'm like, oh, okay, that's right. I forget that. Because I don't like the labels. It's like, I think we can get stuck in our labels sometimes. But I will say I was kind of unable to escape the label at that point because also all of the mold toxicity, all the toxicity, I mean, it's like it's a toxin in your brain. And so it creates, my OCD was so bad at that point, and it was manifested in not wanting to go to friends' houses because I thought maybe they would have mold, or I wouldn't go to the movie theater because I thought they would have mold and I thought it would make me bloated and look fat. And I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. I mean, it was awful. You weren't in control of your body.
Yeah. And on top of it, I would get migraines from the mold. I would get, the brain fog was the worst because it's hard. If you've never had brain fog, it's hard to think about a situation where you actually can't think. Thoughts are not clear. You can't analyze. You can't problem solve in your mind. You can't think about logistics.
You can't tick off a list.
No,
you cannot do a damn thing.
Especially when your energy is so low. And this is also, again, like my mom said, such a misdiagnosed or such a misunderstood mystery illness because it has all of these side effects and then no one knows. Because here's the thing, I'd go out with my friends and I'd just be so happy to have a break from it all. We'd laugh together, we'd, whatever. I don't have to think as much when I'm out with my friends. However, in a school situation, when you have to do a math problem, when you have to write an essay, all of a sudden that's way more energy for your brain. It's not the same as telling a joke and relaxing on the couch. So it's such a mystery for that reason. Well, and also,
in school, her teachers would get confused because she looked good. There was a lack of understanding this illness because, they'd be like, well, she looks fine. So when she would go to school, but to understand what was happening in her brain. So
you have to learn to be tough when you have it too. I mean, you're not gonna, that's the thing, social decorum still exists. So even if it felt like I couldn't get out of bed, if I got myself to school that day, I wasn't about to fall asleep on the table because I have social decorum, even if it felt like I needed to sleep. It's like, like people with mystery illnesses, there's a certain strength that you build of hiding and pretending you're okay and existing in society.
And
because
then you
if
come home
not,
and collapse.
exactly. And also because if not, you're ostracized. This is just basic biology. It's like, of
Yeah.
course you act.
So a lot of you want to know solutions. I'm going to get to testing first, because if you suspect, or if someone in your life you suspect has this issue, a great place to get mold testing is a laboratory in Texas. It's called Real Time Lab. It is a urine test. You can ask your doctor for an order for it. And you can get it through the mail. They send it to you. You just simply do a urine sample, fill out all your insurance form, send it out to them, and they will send you a report of what kind of mold you have in your system and if it's over the norm. Now, interestingly, like I said, I had as much mold in my system as my girls did and as Bruce did. I didn't react to it, but it was taking them down. And when we talked to Dr. Spinagle about that, he said, you know what, you just have a resilience to it that they don't, probably because of the HLA gene. He said the reason that Violet is having such a hard time with Lyme disease is because of the mold toxicity. And at his clinic, which is a Lyme and mold clinic, he said 85% of his Lyme patients carry the HLA gene and have the mold toxicity along with it. And his understanding from, being in this specialty for years is that the people with the mold allergy are more susceptible to the Lyme disease. Someone else might be bitten by a Lyme tick, and that just might be a suppressed virus in their system that never flourishes. But with the sensitivity with mold, your body can't fight it as much. So that's what happened to her, which then created all those other issues. So let's talk about all the different treatments you did. So again, mold toxicity, you're going to go to Real Time Lab, and that's where you get a urine test to find out what kind of mold you are allergic to. You're sensitive to. We all had different ones. I think mine was ochratoxin was the worst.
Yeah, mine was trichothecene.
Trichothecene, yes. She could smell it. We would walk into a building. She'd go, I can't be in here.
It's not even just smelling it. And even still, I've built sort of this sixth sense where I can feel when it's in a building, because I don't know, it's like a sense. Like I have certain reactions that happen. I can feel a sort of swelling feeling here. I can even feel it in my body sometimes, in my legs.
It's a really difficult.
Air feels more heavy.
Yes, it would feel thick.
Thick, yeah.
It was like a thick air syndrome. It was so. At this clinic, he did major chelation. So IV. She would have. Do we even know what was in those IVs?
Yeah,
a ton of glutathione.
No, there were some different ones on different days. So
Okay.
some days I would have a glutathione drip, and that would pull all the toxins out. And then some days I would have just amino acids and general, just to really get nutrition into my body.
Yeah. The amino acids are to help heal the gut.
Yeah.
And without proper amino acids, your body can't absorb. You don't absorb food. You're eating it, but it passes right through your system. There's also a lot of vitamin C.
The vitamin C was a different drip. That was a different day. I would get vitamin C, and that would burst the membrane of the Lyme.
We did not have Gut Renew at that time.
No.
So going through all of these issues is what inspired me to create Gut Renew later. But you were on, we were eating incredibly specific and, as healthy as we could get, but a clean protein style drink was one thing that she could tolerate that didn't make her bloated. But she was she was scared of fruit. She was scared of just anything, any kind of sugar, so it was pretty much blueberries, coconut milk, and a protein powder that would work for her. We had, so that was every day she would get 1 to 2 drips per day. She doubled up on the treatment because she's a freaking warrior. And what happens when they pull that out of your system is you experience all the toxins through your body as they're being expelled. So we would go home at the end of the day and she would be wiped out, absolutely wiped out. So some of the things that the doctor recommended in order to help pull the toxins out of her system more quickly, colonics. So we have like 2 colonics a week you would do, and infrared sauna. And what else did you do for detox? She was also
that was pretty much the protocol.
She was also taking oral glutathione, and a ton of supplements. So for the gut, and you guys know all this from Suzanne's line, prebiotics, probiotics. We didn't have postbiotics at that time, but a ton of probiotics. She was on 9 different strains of probiotics every day. So 3, 3, and 3, and they were different. You know, he had us on different varieties, plus the prebiotics, plus you were on DLG.
I don't remember.
I developed Gut Renew, Diana. This is how it came to be. I took all of the ingredients that helped Violet and put it into a formula. And she just still drinks it every day.
Yeah.
It's a great product. So that is something that helps at least, cover your bases, and we were just looking for something that wouldn't inflame her gut, where she could get some protein, get some nutrition. So that's really how it started. DLG, what are those licorice tablets called?
Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
It's called DLG. It's a licorice tablet. And again, this helps to heal the lining of the gut. And I'm not selling any of this stuff, so I can say everything freely. I'm not selling any products today, guys. DGL is the product. We're just having a talk about mold and mold health and how to get tested and what kind of treatments Violet did and how she is now maintaining is where we're going to get to. So we're just having a health conversation today. So I can say anything and everything, and I don't have to worry about, what the claim is for this and what the claim is for that. I know there are a lot of people who have this issue, and we just want to make sure if any part of Violet's experience or my experience as her mom is helpful to you, that's the purpose of the show today. So the DGL those are to help with it is hot.
It's hot in here.
Those are to help with the lining of the gut. And God, she took a lot of glutathione, and it doesn't taste good. But I am going to tell you, no one is more compliant than this girl. She did everything. She wasn't that kid where, you had to say, she was already on top of it. I need this, I need that.
I had to also be so strict with my diet, and I stopped eating. I ate probably 4 different foods for a matter of a year. It was really bad. And of course, I had eating problems and everything. But that being said, I do think it helped because there were so many things. I mean, even when you think about healthy foods, it's of course, foods like kale or broccoli or whatever, those foods are healthy. But with such a compromised gut, I couldn't digest cruciferous vegetables. It would make me bloated. It would make me feel terrible. So I had a list of probably 4 to 6 safe foods that I ate for maybe 2 years with very little deviation, which I'm not necessarily recommending it, but I do think I really did help to heal my gut that time. I wouldn't recommend that now because what is the gut like? The gut likes biodiversity. It likes, variety, but it did help at the time.
So she was at this clinic for 6 weeks. We had planned on staying for 3 weeks. She definitely needed more treatment. The difference of how she entered there and how she left was phenomenal.
Yeah, I still needed more time. I mean, it took me a full, probably 2 years.
It was 2 years before she was well, but at least that first 6 weeks, then we had access to this doctor, and he would check in on her, and he would give us advice and things to take from afar.
Yeah.
But she went home with a full protocol of vitamins and supplements and all the things that she would take for maintenance. And we had some bad dips. We had some really bad dips.
We did. Yeah.
But it was persistence in trying to just make sure that she was eating healthy foods, that she was getting the supplements she needed. She continued with glutathione she still takes it to this day. Like, she could tell when her blood would get thick. So when her blood would get thick, that's when her extremities would get cold. You get cold hands, cold feet. I remember her boyfriend at the time would come downstairs and he's like, hey, Caroline, Violet's lips are blue. I think she needs that. What was the supplement?
I don't think that ever happened.
I remember it was niacin, right?
It was blood thinners. It was like serapeptase, not niacin.
Yeah, serapeptase. Yeah. So when you get mold toxicity, your blood gets thick.
And then it can't pass through the veins as easily. That's why you get cold extremities, because it takes a long time for the blood to get all the way down to your fingers.
There was several months where she was on these blood thinners that would help with that. In addition, I'm trying to think.
Also to get the blood flow going to the brain too, because when the blood doesn't go to the brain, that's hard. Yeah, a lot of people are mentioning iron. I was very iron deficient. I took iron every day.
And the other thing what was the other thing I wanted to mention? I mean, she couldn't exercise. She had no energy.
No energy.
Absolutely
no mental energy.
Hormones. When your body is dealing with mold toxicity, guess what? It shuts down your hormone production.
Yeah.
So in addition, she was depleted from estrogen and progesterone.
I was taking estrogen
Yeah,
at the time,
so she had to take estrogen at like 15 years old.
Yeah.
And it helped. I mean, all of these things perked her back up. And then, the other thing that he put her on to balance her brain chemistry, because her brain chemistry, her ADD was so bad from all of her hormones being blunted, from the mold toxicity, from the Lyme disease. So he also gave her an ADD medication that literally brought her back to life. Like you see a wilted flower and you give it water. I watched it happen in his office.
Well, and I had ADD, I think, since the beginning of time. Like, as a little girl, I definitely had ADD.
She does not
already.
have ADHD. She has ADD. She has quiet type ADD.
The daydreaming one, where you're just in another place constantly.
Picking daisies.
Yeah. And so it got so bad with that. I mean, it's still something I have to manage now. It makes it a little more harder to just kind of exist in the mundane world, deal with logical tasks and everything, but it's better now. Now I'm able to, because I wasn't able to train myself to do any of these things. So from the outside, it just looked like I was a lazy girl, and that actually wasn't the case at all.
That makes me so mad now, because you're so creative and you're so brilliant and you are such a doer. Her brain was off.
I'm also really not lazy. I've trained myself. It wasn't natural for me to be task-oriented type A, but I've trained myself to, I'm not late. Am I late ever?
No.
I'm not late. I'm not, when someone asks me to do something, I do it. I'm responsible, dependent, reliable, all those things. But in that time, I wasn't even able to be.
So there are a few different medications for ADD and ADHD. That you can speak with your doctor about. I will tell you our experience. There is the medications that when I was a kid, there was one kid in the class who was on Ritalin. He was, this was like a hyperactive kid. Then the difference between the medications is the types of stimulants that are in them. And there is Ritalin, which I believe is 50-50 with neuroepinephrine and dopamine. That's 50-50. Adderall was the next one that came out, and I believe that's 60-40 little more dopamine than the neuroepinephrine. And then Vyvanse came out, which is like 90% dopamine and 10%. Yeah. So in Dr. Spinagle's opinion, this was the most refined and the best medication, at least for what my two daughters had. And she, lethargic. And when he gave her this medication in the office, and, you know, he would do a test. We waited 30 minutes. He was like, how do you feel? She was like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything different. He raised the amount and then did another test. All of a sudden, the way you came to life in that office, I will never forget. You were like, Mom, should we go to the hotel and go swimming? Why don't we go down to the beach and take a walk on thing? And then I have some questions for you. I want to talk about Catholicism. She went... I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I did. I had my spice back. I do, like, it really did help save my life for a time. And I have mixed opinions about medications, you know.
We all do.
I don't think that it's a one size fits all thing. I don't think it's black and white. I don't think it's either great or terrible. I have mixed opinions. I think it's a synthetic, you know, something that I'm putting in my body, and I don't know if it's good or bad, you know, I don't know, but I know that it really, really helped me at a time when I had such severe depression. Like, I didn't have any happy thoughts. That was really a hard time
terrified.
in my life.
I would not leave. I would not leave the house if she was there.
I wasn't suicidal, I wouldn't say. I had suicidal thoughts. I had thoughts of not wanting to be here just because it was really hard to exist. I don't think I would have done anything, but if I had to live in that state for an extended period of time, who knows? I mean, that kind of depression is debilitating, like so hard. And so I really do think the ADD medication that I was on for that. And now it's like, of course, again, I'm conscious of anything synthetic that I'm putting in my body. At the same time, I still do have severe ADD, and a stimulant of some sort really does help me exist in this world. If we had created a world for people with ADD, that would be different. We don't live in that world. So a stimulant really does help me do a task. It can be coffee. It can be coffee at this point.
Well, this is how, I mean, my doctor said, he's like, you have severe ADHD. He's like, you self-medicate with coffee.
Yeah.
I feel normal when I drink a lot of caffeine. So I've never had to take medication. But the coffee makes me feel normal. So, you know, listen, when both of them went on this medication, I'll tell you who was really, really mad about it was Suzanne.
Yeah.
She was really unhappy that they were on this medication. And you know what? It was a bridge. It was a bridge to get them through this period. They're both on severely lower doses than when they started. And all medications have side effects. There are side effects to everything, but having lived through what you went through, I don't think you would have been able to finish school.
No.
I certainly don't think you would have been able to go to Italy and do a 4-year design program.
No,
she wasn't functioning.
No, and even it took 2 years to get better. It was a few years of maintenance after that to get to the point where I felt like a normal human being.
Yes, and like, you still do so much incredible
I still do maintenance. I even had, when I was in Rome this most recent time, I was living in a place with visible mold, which I don't recommend. I was kind of roughing it a little bit. But I even had some bouts of like the mold allergy coming up and kind of having to do my maintenance and everything. But yeah, I'm not trying to make a blanket statement on medication. I also think some people are saying get to the root cause. We're people who obviously, I mean, if you've even heard us telling the story, you can see how much we are people who try to get to the root cause of anything. At the same time, when something is affecting your life and your quality of life so deeply and so horribly, it's. I
mean, she went from
having to get a bridge. You know,
she went from having to drop out of school to she went to 3 different schools before she landed at an art school, and all of a sudden she was getting like all the academic awards at the end of the year. She's like, what is going on? Why do I like what?
I mean, that also might have been a reflection of the school I was at.
Well,
I don't know,
it was a different academic level for sure, but still it was
my thyroid, I did get checked. I had really low thyroid, also
She
because
was
of the
also on
mold.
thyroid
And
medication.
the thyroid is the conductor of all the hormones, so I did have to take my thyroid.
Thyroid, estrogen. Were you on progesterone too?
No,
Okay, thyroid, estrogen,
only estrogen. For a period of time.
glutathione, so many probiotics, prebiotics, DGL, and then all the normal, boost supplements that she would. I mean, this girl, she can take a handful like this. I could never
Sadly,
do it.
I work with kids from poor areas, and so many show signs that would never be addressed like this. It is really sad, and I am really lucky because I was able to get help due to like my grandma's connections. We were, I mean, I don't know what we can say financially, but at least in a place where I could get help.
I will tell you, we spent all of our money to get her well. We lost a lot. And I would do it again.
Yeah.
I would absolutely do it again. It came at a time where we were in kind of a rough situation because of a recession hit, and Bruce's business took a hit, and we just kept pouring money into this problem, pouring money. Not everyone can do it. I would spend every penny again. I look at Violet, and there's a big celebrity, a very, very big supermodel who has Lyme disease. And I look at her, and she is still struggling.
Yeah.
And she is in so much pain, and she's not well. She got well. And I remember at the same time, because Suzanne was friendly with her mother, who also had Lyme disease. And not everyone gets out of it. Not everyone gets out of it. It is a very, very tough situation. And there were people at the clinic that we went to with Violet, and they're like, I've been all over the world. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. And for us, it really took 2 years. It wasn't one thing. It was hundreds of things.
It's personal. It's a personal thing, like Lyme and also all the co-infections. It's so personal to each person. There isn't a one-size-fits-all program. This is just what worked for me.
It was also a spiritual.
I was just going to say,
there was also a major spiritual component.
It is spiritual because there's also the component of needing to believe that there's something beyond, or that there's a universal force somehow that wants you to be better. And it's also easy to be blocked. Listen, I've had some type of problem with my body since I had Lyme disease. And not everything relates to the Lyme disease, but even this year I had a major surgery problem I was dealing with for 4 years. I have more problems now after that. Like, there's always something, and maybe some people don't live like this. I've always had some sort of physical problem with my body, and I get it. It gets debilitating. So you get blocked sometimes. You think like there's nothing that's going to help and whatever. And it's that part that's hard. Those are hard cycles to be in. At a certain point, like, you can't keep being hard on yourself about what's going on. You just have to believe you're going to get out of it somehow, and keep taking action, keep doing things, be kind to yourself.
And it's so hard because I know there are many people who have that faith, who are sick.
Yeah.
And who sometimes I know that can be triggering, just to be like, you have to believe and then you'll get better. And I know so many people who have chronic illnesses who do have faith and who do believe and are still not better. So we're not saying that as a trigger that somehow it's you not, but that component of prayer. I mean, there was a lot of prayer. We did some really deep prayer work. And for me, it was, we just connected with like all the mothers of the world, in this world and beyond, and asked out loud for help for her. And with the guidance that we had here, with the medical people that we were able to have access to, which was such a privilege. I don't know how people without resources, without insurance didn't cover most of this.
I want to add something about that too. in no way I'm trying to insinuate that if you pray for something, it gets better, because I was dealing with this for 2 years and it didn't get better. Mm-hmm. I didn't start to see any improvement until the 3rd year. And I did have hope. I was sort of
kind of went like this, you know.
I was sort of walking through life blindly, just going through the motions. I thought I would be living that way forever. I didn't know what would happen. And again, I have been dealing with issues, separate issues that don't have to do with Lyme or mold or anything with my body for the past now maybe 5 or 6 years that still aren't resolved, you know? So I do think part of this is like doing what you can, going after the problem, finding your resources, praying, having hope. And then another part of it is just acceptance. It's also just, this is where I am right now today. I'm supposed to learn something about this in my life. And if it gets better, I'm supposed to learn something from it getting better. And if it doesn't, well, there are other good things in my life. It's just hard, but like sometimes it just is what it is. You find the solutions you can, and then there's a certain element of acceptance.
You manage what you're dealing with.
And you focus on the other things, because like it is debilitating. If you only focus on, I mean, especially when you were as bad as I was, and I'm sure some people are, it's hard to think about anything else. Like it takes over your whole life. So I have so much empathy for people dealing with that. And I really hope you find your solutions, and maybe some of mine will help. I don't know. But also at the same time, again, there's a certain level of acceptance of this is what I'm dealing with.
I think we can share a story like Violet's, where it does have such an inspiring ending, where she did find the combination, the persistence, the constant working on herself. And now this woman has such incredible habits that she does. She gets herself to a gym every single day, pretty much every day.
I'd say 4 times a week.
4 times a week. Okay. So, and it's not an outrageous workout, but she goes very consistently. And
I meditate every morning. That's really helpful for the brain stuff. The breath work and meditation every morning. Again, I don't even like to say this stuff because it's become such a trend. Like, oh, meditate. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like meditate to sound cool. It actually has
prescriptive though. You're just saying what has worked for you.
It's just really helped me a lot. And I'm also not trying to act like meditation is going to like solve your health issue or your life issue. I just think it's
a piece of the puzzle, babe.
Yeah.
It's a piece of the puzzle.
The breath work, meditation. I do eat pretty well.
Really well.
But I'm able to indulge now, you know. I wasn't before. It was too difficult.
And, you know, with all of the food allergies.
I didn't drink too in high school.
Yeah, she didn't have any alcohol. She was gluten, dairy, egg free. She would eat exclusively organic. I mean, she worked hard. Now she's able to, you know, here and there, she'll have some cheese. She'll, you know, have a drink here and there. That's
I also recognize
phenomenal.
It's expensive too. Like all of it's expensive. The
Very
supplements,
expensive.
Eating that way is really expensive. Again, like I'm coming from a place of course I'm a success story, and like you should be inspired by my success story, because none of us ever thought I was going to get out of this because of how bad it was. And now I would say I'm functioning even more optimally than the average human. That being said, I know I'm also coming from a place of privilege of being able to do all of this stuff. Someone from a different family and different socioeconomic status could not afford all of the treatments, supplements, clean eating.
They were not covered, guys.
Gym, whatever. And it was even hard for my family, like
really hard.
Really hard.
But, you know, we just left our house.
But it was at least it was at least a possibility is what I'm saying. Like for other, like, this is out of the scope of what's possible for some people. I recognize that.
It's absolutely true.
Like, even leaving your house, I've seen some people say that they have mold in their houses. If you have mold in your house and you're sick, that's just a really bad recipe. I don't know what to say because it's really difficult. Like, if you're allergic to mold and you have mold in your house, of course, what I would say, leave your house. I know it's not that easy, but at the same time, like, go into a new place, a clean place. And they've even seen that happen with some of my family members who have dealt with this too. I have one family member who dealt with this in a very intense way, but she's a lot better now. It takes dedication.
Oh, you can't believe what they did to they stayed in their house, but they literally replaced everything in the home to be toxic free. They have, wood floors that don't use any glue. They have only organic furniture that has, the level that they went through to make their house toxin free. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It took her 10 years, but she is finally functioning normally. Does she still have issues? Yes. Does she still, dealing with maintenance? You bet. But
there's a time when you have to center your life around your health when it gets this bad. And then there's a time where when it's still not complete, sometimes you have to decenter it a little bit and try as hard as you can to focus on
so true.
Something else, because it'll just take over your life, really. And it's, sometimes for good reason, then sometimes you need to try to do something else. It depends on how bad it is. And also I want to say too, I would say that I've fully recovered from this mold and Lyme issue. I was having some trouble in Italy with the mold. I was having that swelling thing, which was not fun to look constantly 5 to 7 pounds heavier. I mean, it's not a big deal, but we all know our bodies. If you're eating,
it's a health issue.
If you're eating well and stuff, and then you're still getting like cellulite for no reason, it's just not fun. I think that's human.
But not even time, you don't even get the French fry.
Exactly. I didn't even eat something that tasted good, and then whatever. So that's annoying. But at the same time, I also want to be clear that I have some health issues too that I'm dealing with right now that are still unresolved. And some of it is just life. My grandpa said to me one time, he was like, there's always a problem. So don't pay too much mind to it, because there's always going to be something. And it is of course, sometimes you need to focus completely on it. And then you also need to know when, all right, this exists, I need to think about the good things too.
It's very true. And I think we come here for our journey of life, and we're all given a lot of obstacles. I'd like to say okay, you had your big obstacle. You know what? It was a big one for you, but it wasn't your first, and it's not your last.
Yeah.
And we all will go through many obstacles. Life is hard. So I think finding your joy through the journey of obstacles is also really important, and trying to find something when you're in the middle of, a really difficult process that you can be proud of yourself for, or that you can find your joy with, is also really important when you're managing, especially something chronic. This was a chronic illness.
I mean, I discovered also some natural talents for art when I was sick, because it was very hard to write. I'm a writer now, but it was very hard to write because I couldn't think. So it was hard to even put into words what was going on. And I just started drawing by the pool some days when I was not feeling well, or when I was home from school. I would go outside and I would draw, and then I'd go back to bed. And, that was one of the only things I could do. So,
and I was looking at this work what is happening? The talent that was coming, says the mother, but it's true. The talent that was coming out of her with very little art training was phenomenal. And I actually, she was at a really, really academic school. So the girls were at a high school, a junior high school, which is one of the hardest schools in the country, let alone Los Angeles. And Camellia struggled through, was an anxious wreck, but she made it through. Violet, this started happening to her. She was in 9th grade, and there was no way she could get through that school. I mean, her brain shut down. So in some ways, I felt like when I saw all this art coming out of her, I felt like it was God redirecting. No. This child does not belong on this path. She's incredibly smart, and she's very academic, but she was an artist. And it was you missed it. This is not her path. Go here. And it completely rerouted her life into art. She went, finally, when we found, after the 3rd or 4th school we tried, she ended up at an arts high school. And all those kids, all their parents were artists. So they all knew how to get into the art programs for college. And that is how Violet ended up at an art school for college. She went to a fashion design school
But
in
even
Italy.
when I tried out for that school, the arts high school, I remember saying to my mom, like, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to be able to make the year. And my mom was like, just try, like, you can. Sorry, I'm like, I forgot how like big of a deal this was in my life because I just forget about it now. But like, she was like, just try, like, you can, like, let's see what happens. And I tried out. I said, it doesn't matter if I try out, I'm not going to be able to make it through the year. I tried out, and I ended up finishing. I repeated a grade and finished 3 years of school there, and it changed my life completely because it showed me a different way to be, and
A different talent.
And it's ironic too, because like now, as a writer too, now I am diving into more intellectual pursuits, you know, and I sort of envy some of my friends who grew up with like that elite education, you know, and I'm reading Greek classics for the first time or whatever. But I realize now I'm able to do it. Takes so much focus and attention to dive into an intellectual pursuit like that. And I realize, especially talking about this stuff now, like I would not have been able to have the attention span, anything to dive into such.
But what you got there was skilled training in the arts, which was amazing. And it fostered a whole new level of talent and skills that she could tap into, that her brain was able to accept. The other thing that was amazing about the school is LACHSA. It's the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. So it's like a FAME kind of school, where they would have like a dance program, they had an art program, they had a theater program and a film program. And it was a brand new building. It was a concrete building. So Violet had her classes there was no mold in this school, except in her visual arts program. It was on the, which campus is that? The Cal State LA campus. She had a couple classes that were in the old college room, and there was so much mold in there, and she could not survive in that room. And you know, this is where I had to learn to be an advocate for her, because her senior thesis class as an artist was in that old building. But every time she would go in there, she's like, Mom, I can't go in there. She'd pass out.
An oil painting class in there, and we weren't allowed, for some rule about the air conditioning, we weren't allowed to open the windows. Are you kidding? No ventilation with oil paints. It's like so toxic. So yeah, we did have to advocate.
So I said she can't, you know, because of her illness, her medical condition, she cannot be in that classroom. So you know, we were trying to set up a way that she could, you know, do a video with the people in the classroom while she was in the mold-free building. And they said, well, there's no mold. And I'm like, no, there is mold. And I can bring in a technician to check for the mold. And they said, no, we'll do it. So they did their testing, and they came back and they said, good news, there's no mold. And I said, that is not true. There is definitely mold there. And I'm going to bring in my technician and they will test for mold. And they were like, no, you can't do that. And I said, here's the thing. I said, my child has a medical condition. You must accommodate for her medical condition. And I've never been this parent. I'm always like, okay, no problem. We'll just handle it. But she wasn't going to be able to finish school. And I wanted her to get her degree. So I said, she either has a medical condition that is where she's not allowed to be in that room because of the mold. And if there is no mold in there, it's creating anxiety for her, which is not allowing her to go into that room. And guess what? Her anxiety is also a medical condition. So you can either accommodate for that, or I will take this to the next level. And this was right after Malibu High School had just had so many toxin issues that like teachers were getting cancer. And I went to the mat. I'm like, you do not want another Malibu High issue. So you either accommodate her, or I am bringing in a news crew and we are going to test for mold in this building. And guess what? They saw it my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
It was, I don't like being that person, but you know what?
No, but it's so hard because also it's an invisible illness. It seems like something that's so LA, so new world, spiritual woo woo, and it's like this has real long-term effects.
They all thought I
do-
was, you're coddling her, you're making excuses for her. I'm like, F you.
No, because
You
look
knew
how
what we
I
had been through.
look how I did when I was well. I mean, I never needed coddling at like my college or university or anything. I got through all of that with nothing because I was doing well. Even now, I show up every day whenever I do something, whenever I have a commitment.
And you know what? Like you're a creative. What this taught us is that she knows how to manage her body and to get herself well. And number two, she's a creative. So I know, a lot of some of the fans that watch the show are like, what is Violet doing? You guys, this girl works so hard. She is out there in so many different disciplines, writing and painting, and she does have a full-time job. So I know sometimes people think they know your whole story from a few photos on Instagram.
No.
It's not the whole story. So anyway,
I want to say, if anyone's dealing with this right now, and this isn't to negate oh my God, thank you. Wait, sorry. Just vanity moment. Gorgeous hands. Thank you so
Violet,
much.
maybe be a hand model on the side. Gorgeous
Thank
hands.
you so much. That means a lot to me. I want to say if anyone's dealing with this right now, and this isn't meant to negate what you're going through, you can have a full recovery. You can get better. I never thought it would happen to me. If it happened to me from where I was, it can happen to anyone, truly. Because I remember someone saying this to me when I was in a bad place, saying, I had Lyme disease, look at me now. I'm fully recovered. You will recover. If you have the will and the openness to see what the world's going to give you, stay open because it is fully possible to get better. And sometimes when you're dealing with it and when you've had so much no from the universe or whatever, and you're still not getting better, it's hard to know that. But I really do know that it's possible because I lived it.
The other, there was a major angel in our lives who I believe was really the key to your healing, and that is Brenda Watson.
Yeah, she was great.
Brenda Watson, you can find her on Instagram. She is a gut health specialist, and she took us by the hand and led us to every specialist that we saw for Violet.
Yeah.
And the healing that this woman knows about the gut, because as you know from all of you who watched Suzanne for all those years, how so many illnesses start in the gut. So many. It is the center of everything. And she helped us to shore up Violet's gut. Specialists, products, medications, all of it. And she's the one who led us to Dr. Spinagle for her. I'm telling you, Brenda Watson, you can follow her on Instagram. She gives incredible gut health advice. She had a company, a supplement company that she sold, but you can still watch her, and I recommend you follow her. She is an angel. I really believe she saved your life.
I had so many angels along the way.
Yes.
She was definitely one of them, but really so many. Mm-hmm. So many.
Yeah, healers. And so many healers.
Again, if you're dealing with this too, part of it is the acceptance because no one is harder on you than you. And so if you're dealing with something like this, you probably think it's your fault. You probably think, why isn't any of this working? What's wrong with me? You're being hard on yourself. Accept. This is where you are right now. It's okay. Like, it'll get better. It will get better. Mm-hmm. It just takes time.
Even when you feel hopeless, you have to keep that hope. And, I feel like a heaviness of the people who have chronic illnesses who have not. Like when you say you will get better, like I know the despair of thinking like I'm keeping that hope. I keep that hope alive and then trying something new and it not working out. It just feels like it happened when I go back to thinking like the 14th thing that we were going to try.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, maybe this will work. Everyone has another idea about it. There is a doctor who specializes in mold who has made a national protocol out of it. His name is Dr. Richie Schumacher. Shomaker, I believe, Schumacher. And he has a whole protocol. And
Wait, we forgot about also another important thing that helped me were coffee enemas. To be honest, I didn't really want to come on here and talk about coffee enemas, but
well,
it was really helpful.
Yeah,
it was really helpful.
After the colonics that she would do while she was in treatment, then when she came home, she continued that coffee enema protocol. And again, that was from Suzanne's doctor, her amazing cancer doctor and dear friend, Nick Gonzalez, who used coffee enemas in his cancer protocol. And he said it's the same protocol for mold that it is for cancer. You have to get these toxins out of the body. And yes, she was religious about it. She would do it every day. So people are talking about celery juicing. We went through the celery juicing phase as well. And that's an incredible protocol. I think medical medium protocols for chronic illness, highly recommend his protocols. Totally different than, and he also works through spirit, which is beautiful. Yeah. So, listen, we don't have all the answers, but the answers that we came up with have led to Violet here as an incredibly healthy, strong young woman.
Yes, very, very. I can say that with confidence. And also, again, I can't say it enough, acceptance. It's not that you're accepting that you're going to be sick forever. You just have to accept where you are each day and not be hard on yourself, because it is so hard when you're dealing with something like this. I was thinking in the past, even just as we were talking about all this, I started to get kind of annoyed. I was like, why am I getting so annoyed? It's not fun to talk about. It was a really hard time in my life, and I just kind of moved on because I was so happy to be over it. But I forgot about really how hard that time was because I'm such a different person now. So again,
she also lost most of her friends in the process.
I did. I was very alone too during that time. And I don't blame them because I was dealing with things that most 14, 15-year-olds aren't dealing with. So it was not relatable.
Yeah, and people are supportive for a while, but then it's like you're just out of it.
Yeah,
you're not in the social circle.
When you're constantly not feeling well, it's just a broken record. Of course, people get tired of it, and then you have to put on a face for people. It's such a hard cycle, really. Yeah. Did you do any Chinese herb cleanses later? Not for this though. Oh, I tried some Chinese medicine at one point.
Yeah, you went to Dr. Dao and.
No, but that was after. That was way later.
My goodness. So it's been an hour. We could talk about this for a long time because it went on for so long. Mm-hmm. But the good news is that now we have so many wonderful things that we do to maintain, get your body checked for mold. If you are suspicious, real-time lab is a urine test. Get your house checked for mold. If you have mold in your home, you must get professional remediation.
Yes.
For maintenance, we use Wellisair, and that's been amazing because it will kill any mold spores that are in the air before they can colonize and start creating a health issue. But you have to get professional remediation if you have visible mold in your home. So, we never overpromise with what our products do. But, again, we did all of that. We spent so much money having professional mold remediation. And the best thing we did was leave that house and leave your school because they both had mold issues. So anyway, there were hundreds of healing protocols that we did. We've tried to, share as many as we could with you today. But I'm super grateful that you're well, and I'm happy to have you home for a little bit. And thanks for joining me today. This was a helpful discussion.
So happy to be here.
Yeah.
So happy for my introduction. Happy to see all you guys.
Yeah. I'll be back on Thursday. I'll be cooking something delicious, probably something that Violet likes because I haven't been able to cook for her for a while. Bye, guys.
Bye.